Mutantkind is one of the strongest species in all of comic books. And one of the reasons that is because of their unkillable nature. I mean, their main figurehead is the Phoenix itself, the literal symbolization of rebirth, regeneration, immortality, the list goes on. That ideology transcribes to each and every one of those mutants practically. So with that in mind, I'm going to start a series talking about that very thing, the unkillable nature of Mutantkind and their immortality linked to it. I want to be talking about both specific mutants and groups of mutants in order to just make things more smooth. Let's talk about one of the most pivotal groups when it comes to immortality amongst Mutantkind, the externals. Some of these faces you're more than likely not going to know, while others like Apocalypse and Selene are very, very popular amongst the community. This group has literal decades of foundation. I'm not going to bore you with all that. The only comic we really need to know in order to understand them is Excalibur issue number 11. Apocalypse is trying to prepare another mutant named Richter for a specific ritual, a ritual made of his kind, the externals. Ever since Mutantkind originally sprouted on Earth, every one of the major figureheads across history gathered together, known as the High Lords or the Externals, to push their kind further. They're not just linked through bond, they're linked by body and soul, and kind of found a cheat code in terms of overlasting power potential. Every time one of them dies, the others get stronger. So they started to make a ritual. One or many of these members will sacrifice themselves in order to bolster the rest of the group. And this ritual has been taking place thanks to their immortality for centuries, eons even. Go another issue further, because remember Richter, who I noted was going to take place in this ritual? He does just that, absorbing the essence of numerous members of the externals. Being one of the newest members of such an ancient group, but he's not the first newest member. I'll get into that later. Tagging back into that immortality bit, we get a verbatim notion within this issue as well. Despite her entire essence being absorbed by Richter, her soul was still able to freely travel wherever they please. Eventually going to Remy because they have history, and Apocalypse and Remy have history too. That's another thing. Practically means that she can just stay in her soul form for as long as she wants, or just reconstitute a new body the same way someone like Selene or Apocalypse constantly does. Let's get back into that notion of Richter being a newly formed member. Like I noted, he was not the only one that's joined this group later after their inception. Cannonball at one point in time went through this specific ritual, making him an external as well. All of Apocalypse's children, thanks to being born through external DNA, also are immortal. Archangel and other horsemen of Apocalypse actually got to keep their powers that he's given them, are immortal thanks to their external heritage. There's a reason why Warren, despite being an OG mutant, doesn't age anymore. Compared to other characters, Dean's the Phoenix. Makes sense. Iceman is literal cold personified. Makes sense. Beast is a little bit weird to argue. I mean, they had to literally make a new one in order to make it make sense. Warren's just Warren. He's an external. He's immortal. This is also one of the many reasons why mutant magic is considered such a potent and versatile magic type, because you're able to give someone eternal life. Not even just biologically. Their soul, no matter what, mind, body, and soul can live on for eternity. That's wicked. I'm not trying to have this be a majorly long video. Check out for the next few parts where I talk about like other characters or groups who are also considered immortal. Let's keep the ball rolling and continue talking about mutant immortality. How is this intrinsically linked to practically the entire species? Part 1, we talked about a mutant group known as the Externals, who all were able to grant themselves immortality through magical means. In terms of physicals and soul, they are able to resurrect at any time, and on top of that can live on forever. But outside of magical means, there are a plethora of mutants who are able to become immortal just off their own powers. Some of them you know very well. Jean Grey, i.e. the Phoenix, the literal concept of rebirth. Another very popular one being Iceman Bobby Drake, cold personified. But like I noted, there's more, so let's talk about them. Would you believe me if I told you that Emma Frost is immortal? It's all thanks to that diamond form, baby. The most recent notion we actually get of this is in the Age of Revelation series, Iron Frost. Iron Frost, I know. Arrow ended up stabbing Emma straight through the heart, like completely destroying it in totality. Heart no longer pumping, blood no longer flowing through her body. In her moments of death, Emma went into her diamond form, one that doesn't need biological functions to survive. Biological function points pushed into us even more because after multiple years, I believe 8 to 9, Emma hasn't aged a bit. And remember, she's still missing a heart. Iron Frost is even the first notion of Emma being immortal in her diamond form. Let's go to New X-Men issue 141. Emma is broken into plethora, thousands of separate pieces. Anyone else, this would be completely murking them off, but Emma is different. As Jean Grey tells us, each and every small piece of her contains her consciousness. There is still a chance to bring her back to life if she's fully reassembled. I want you to keep in mind what's even crazier. Emma can't use psionics in her diamond form, so how is her consciousness still empowered? How is she still able to use her psionics? Because she's like that. Emma is not the only psionic that's capable of making themselves immortal. Kid Omega has done something very similar. This X-Force series, Kid Omega ends up aging up rapidly thanks to some sort of time manipulation. It shows us that all he has to do in order to stay alive forever is transfer his consciousness to any other physical host. Now, Kid Omega 2 is completely immortal if you do not completely get rid of his psionic presence. Practically every major psionic or telepath is immortal. Proteus is no different. Proteus is made of pure psionic energy. There is no biological substance to grow old, meaning that he's already immortal in that regard. But add on to that, shown in X-Men Legacy issue 232 as well as multiple others, 2 can transfer his consciousness into other host beings. Not just, taking over their mind, no, completely erasing it and making the body his own. I'm not lying to you when I say that literally every relevant psionic amongst the mutants is immortal. Though we haven't seen Exodus transfer his psionic being into another host body, Benet's been alive since 12th century France. He does not biologically age whatsoever. Could consider him an external similar to Apocalypse, especially seeing that Apocalypse is what awakened his power. But he's also a psionic, and as shown with every other psionic, he should be able to transfer his mind to other hosts as well if he really needs to. Still on the psionic train, but this one's a little bit different. Tarn the Uncaring. He uses his psionic powers in order to manipulate people's genetics. He can manipulate genetics, DNA, down to its very atomic structure. Like he could give anybody any sort of physical mutation, morph, power, etc. He can prolong his life indefinitely as well. Move away from non-psionics. Let's talk about Death Dream, whose powers is completely intrinsically linked with death. This Uncanny X-Men series is his first appearance, and in issue 3 it tells us about his backstory. He's died over and over and over again, but always resurrects, because he again is intrinsically linked with death. Would I be if I were not to talk about magic, aka Illyana Rasputin? To Illyana's demon physiology, she does not have to worry about biologically getting old like a lot of others. But on top of that, she has 2 souls in one host. Now, if you want to completely get rid of the physical being of Illyana Rasputin, you have to deal with both the soul of her as well as Darkchild. As Illyana's dead here, but the body as well as Darkchild still exists. This notion too is in a first time in terms of age revelation. And jumping back to the new X-Men series, this time issue 40, was an instance where Illyana did pass, but Belasco resurrects her, but not the entirety of her soul. Darkchild came back, but Illyana did not. And throughout the series, we find that, again, those 2 souls can be separated and the host body still lives. Add on the fact that she's a magic user, she can make herself immortal that way too. Go back to Rocco and talk about the mutant Lactuca. Her mutant ability is not really known. Based off what we've seen in the Fall of the House of X, she's the sentient cosmos itself, immortal. She's literally one with the universe. As long as the universe lives, you might be able to argue that Lactuca is a byproduct or aspect of eternity. It's not confirmed. We really don't know what she is, but the fact that she is one with the cosmos, immortal. I want this video to be super long, but again, it shows my point that just off their own powers alone, there are a plethora of mutants who are immortal. Another one, David Haller, has every power you can think of everyone you cannot. This man's immortal too. Kind is immortal, and like I noted at part 1, it's all thanks to the Phoenix, the person where Mutantkind originated from. Keep your eyes out for part 3, where I can talk about characters who can potentially become immortal.